you're setting cost controls at a level that you're not even hitting on your highest volume campaigns, and it's getting sloppy seconds. There's no chance these cost controls spend any money on it. All you really need to do is, it's literally quite that simple.
So let's tackle something I see constantly in sales calls. Brands trying to run essentially what the hybrid model means. So highest volume, cost controls together. What I would describe as trying to drive with both feet on the gas and brake at the same time. So we're going to be breaking down exactly why this doesn't work and ultimately how to transition properly. So I didn't say hi to you, Taylor. Hi.
Yeah, goodness gracious. Talking about neglect. How are we doing? It's good to be here.
This is a big one. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a common conversation, not only within the sales cycle, but clients bring it up too. They're in the weeds on Twitter, the bane of my existence, hearing things being talked about, and hey, what do you think about this? We should be doing this. So plenty of meat on this bone to chat through.
Well, let's break down for the audience. Well, let's just say brands attempt to test cost controls, right? Like while maintaining their existing highest volume strategy. And so oftentimes the myth, to be upfront, is the hybrid model works. I don't think people actually come out and say, like, versus the other two episodes of what we just said, where it's like people are coming out and actually stating this. But in action, this is a myth that they are, like they're proving their belief in this myth is that as I can do both. And therefore, cost controls don't work because I've tested them alongside my highest volume. And we've touched on this before, but why don't you just go into the main issue as around like the auction competition and dynamics?
Yeah. At the end of the day, running highest volume alongside cost controls. First off, I just want to acknowledge, like, it's logical why you would want to do this, right? Dip your toes in the water and test it before you actually scale it. I get it. We're also going to give you a solution on how to do that with, I promise you, not very much concern that you should have ultimately. But having them running simultaneously ultimately doesn't work based on what Cody just alluded to in the auction dynamics of meta. If you have a highest volume campaign, again, the variable there is performance, but what is guaranteed? It's spend. You're guaranteeing spend on it. And then the opposite is true on cost controls, where spend is variable and your performance is guaranteed. Right. So with that being the case, and with that being true of each of these types of campaigns, if you have them running alongside one another, what's going to happen is these highest volume campaigns with guaranteed spend per day going out is going to get first servings in the auction. That spend is going to be delivered, and those ads are going to be delivered into the auction first and foremost. And then whatever is left over for sloppy seconds, if it's available, will go to the cost caps. But I would argue, though, for the people that are out there that tested cost controls, why did you test it? You're probably not hitting the performance that you want to be hitting right now. And so you ultimately tested it, right? And so then you probably have the cost cap set at the level that you desire to be hitting, but then your ad account's probably not even hitting it already on the highest volume campaigns. And so at that point, it didn't work. You're setting cost controls at a level that you're not even hitting on your highest volume campaigns, and it's getting sloppy seconds. There's no chance these cost controls spend any money on it. So it's just a matter of, like, they don't exist well alongside one another for these reasons.
That is the major thing. It's not only do they see it on social media, do you see it on LinkedIn, Twitter, you, the listener, but you also are like buying into the theory of, cost controls, like it's a CPA governor on my spend, and I want this CPA, which is exactly how you end up in the situation that you just described. And these budgets, like, it's not even that the budgets are the same. It's actually the budget. It's like a $58,000 a day on highest volume, and then a $5,000 like per day budget on cost control, which is even sillier, right? Like it's you're actually sabotaging both strategies. It's like it's like having a two quarterback system. You end up with no quarterback, like for the college football or the pro quarterback. You only need one, right. QB1, Jalen Hurts.
Go Eagles, go Birds.
But okay, so I mean, honestly, learning split, optimization split, like the platform is you're like prioritizing spend above performance. And then it ultimately leads to invalid conclusions around cost control effectiveness.
There's no true A/B test there. It's not a true A/B test at all. You can't compare the numbers there.
And every time we actually address that, it's like there's not much pushback. They actually, when they start thinking about the auction dynamics of like Facebook loves your money, like they're going to prioritize your daily budget first. It's like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, we don't really get too much pushback once we explain how the auction works. So hopefully this is helpful, right?
Yeah.
If you have a cost caps running alongside highest volume, if the cost cap is set at a clip that is lower or more efficient than what you're currently hitting, they're not going to get spent. Don't be surprised. You heard it here first. And then if you have highest volume campaigns that are hitting a CPA, below what you're setting as the cost controls, you might get delivery, but it's just sweeping up the leftover low-hanging fruit that your highest volume campaigns didn't sweep up just yet. But it's not going to give you conclusive results by any means whatsoever on a A/B test.
Which brings up something that we've talked about before too, which is ultimately these bid strategies lead and will end up in the same place. A ton of nuance to that, but like assuming all variables are the same, they'll probably end up at the same level of performance. This is a slight caveat to where how we say that cost controls allows us to find success sooner without, burning money.
Without the waste to spend. Huge caveat. Without the waste to spend on the losers.
Right. Yeah. So like the bonus, right? Like the feature, not a bug, is that it suppresses my bad spend and amplifies my good spend on the certain creatives that are Facebook is determining as best performing, not me or you or the founder. So with all of that said, let's talk about the transition plan, like even just that first month, which is sort of, what you mentioned a couple episodes ago. It's like, it's not that scary. But we are recommending that we would rip off the Band-Aid. Like you do need to commit because of everything that what we just said. So why don't you walk through like what this practically looks like, help the audience, put them to rest, have them kick their feet up, slide back, listen to Taylor talk about a transition plan that just makes them feel nice and cozy.
Yeah, I mean, it's really not that big. It's really not that big of a deal, quite honestly. Like Cody said, they all, I guess to put a really important clarifier on it, the top performing ads all end up at the same place.
Yeah.
Where the losing content, it doesn't end up at the same place because the losing content ends up spending within highest volume. You burn money. The losing content within a cost control structure doesn't, and you make money. So the cost controls will lead to better performance overall for sure. So in this transition though, hey, your highest volume campaigns are lending themselves to a certain CPA or a certain ROAS currently within highest volume. If all of your campaigns are set at on that bid strategy, whatever you're currently hitting, all you really need to do is transition in the ad account and set the campaigns with a cost control at that CPA or with a minimum ROAS at the ROAS you're currently hitting. You will get delivery. It's literally quite that simple.
So Taylor, do we duplicate the campaigns? Do we turn off and redo? Like what does that look like practically?
We would turn off the existing campaigns, yes. You are able to post ID top performing ads, so you can keep all the social proof, the optimization of those ads, and put them into cost controls. So will you potentially experience a minor dip initially? Sure. But if you listen to the first two episodes here, you have a lot of upside once those campaigns are in optimization to capitalize on performance that would not otherwise be there unless you were within a cost control environment.
Practically what this could look like is actually just say, you pull your last 30 days of performance, you identify your CPA, you set your cost controls matching that current performance, not what you ultimately want to hit, which is what Taylor, so if you're hitting a $50 CPA, maybe you set your cost controls.
You're not going to get it.
At 50 or 55 even.
Right. Yeah. And that's a good point. Actually, to start, I would probably start 10 to 20% higher on a cost control. And then again, how cost controls work, bid cap is a lot more strict. I'd probably start on a cost per result goal or a minimum ROAS there, cost per result goal ideally, and then go to 10 to 20% higher what you were previously hitting for the first week, and then pull it down to what you were hitting prior. And then from there on out, hey, you're going to be in optimization. You can probably continue to bring it down to get your efficiency target to where you actually need it to be to level up to your forecasted goals from a top line and overall profitability perspective.
This is a good transition. What is the timeline here? Like transition, phase out process, transition process. Like, is this a day? Is this 2 days? Is this...
I think it should be a day. I mean, all the content is in there, right?
Yeah.
If you have somebody full time on this transition should take a single day. I think the next question lies in when can I expect to be at better performance? The progression here is week 1. There's probably going to be a little bit of a dip. Yes, we are post IDing your top performing content and we're relaunching all the same content. But at the end of the day, these campaigns need to get reoptimize. So week 1, a little bit of a dip, right? Set the cost controls 10 to 20% higher what you were previously hitting performance wise. Like Cody said, last 30 days, that's fair. So that's week 1. Week 2, back to where you previously were at. Week 3, let's start optimizing and scaling this puppy.
I like that. So expect full optimization within 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Which goes into how we like to tell clients, like, within month 1, you should expect the same level of performance at a minimum.
Overall, right? Yeah, overall, when it all is averaged out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when it all shakes out, we're getting to the same level of performance. Is there momentary dips, but it recovers quickly. So, yeah, I think the biggest thing is like losing the social proof and how that transfers is a huge thing that should make people feel at ease, because we're not like relaunching the creative without the social proof, because we talked about the offsetting the favoritism and all that stuff and losing all the data. So you can expect a faster exit from learning phase if that's the case, correct?
Yeah, you get to keep the social proof, right?
Yeah.
So that's a huge benefit. You're still going to need to get 50 purchases per week at the ad set level or an ASC campaign where there is no ad set level, but 50 purchases per week, get things in optimization in that campaign. We definitely promote ASC. But thereafter, again, you're cooking, and it's only upside from there on out. And it's not going to be this major dip because of what Cody's talking about too. We get to dupe the social proof. You don't lose that. It's not a major dip there.
Well, and the dip happens because of the major point we've been harping on is like the aggressive CPA that now that we have cost controls, this is what I want to hit, versus actually basing their thing in reality of like, this is what my current performance is.
I can't do that.
$50 CPA I'm currently hitting, I want a 25. Let's go.
Right.
Anything else we didn't cover on this topic?
Just be brave. Be bold. If you listen to podcasts of the series 1 and 2 and this Mythbuster series, it seems as though you're probably intrigued and you're interested. Be bold. Be brave. I promise you, your bank account will be happy you did so.
Don't A/B test 2 different steering wheels in your car. It's not going to work well. Just pick a lane, commit. Hopefully you come over to the cost control river and swim in that river. It's not lazy. It's scaling. It's a fun roller coaster. But it's just up. There's no down. All right, we'll wrap it there, guys. As always, we're available. Reach out. Kinship, KYNSHIP.co. And Taylor and I are active on Twitter and LinkedIn, so feel free to reach out there as well. And we'll see you next time. Thanks, everyone.
Ciao, Bella.